Welcome back to another episode of Sex, Drugs, and Soul. I have a special person on today, Dennis Hull. He's a trauma-informed coach and somatic and tantric practitioner who may also have one of the best male voices I've ever heard on the planet. He is dedicated to guiding women on a journey of healing, empowerment, and radiant self-discovery. He believes that women are literal portals to creation, deserving of honor and the freedom to live wildly in their pleasure, power, and purpose. And he believes empowered women are the key to a thriving, harmonious world. So, any ladies listening, I absolutely loved reading that on your website, Dennis. So, welcome. I just was like, it really touched me.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, it's my truth, and I'm glad that it has an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've felt that way my whole life. There's a long story about my relationship with women from childhood, but um, I don't know how much we want to get into that. But I've always gravitated towards this devotion to women.
Mm.
Not in a way that I coach men too, by the way, and I work with men too. It's a little more challenging at times, but what it really amounts to is being able to be in that kind of devotion and not feeling like I'm sacrificing my own masculinity. I think there are men who absolutely love to be around women, but maybe they don't hold their own frame the way they would like to, and the way that you as women would like them to. So I've never felt like I had to choose. So mhm,
Interesting. I like what you said there.
mhm.
Um, I do want to rewind a little bit and touch on, I'm going to scoot up. Okay. And touch on how you discovered the realm of Tantra, sacred sexuality,
Yeah.
how you
So
started your journey.
isn't it? I think it's kind of interesting. It's interesting for me to reflect on it. I was in corporate for years. For 25 years, I worked in a corporate job until my blood pressure was spiking, and I was just miserable, unhappy. I had a bit of a career through college doing. I worked my way through college in broadcast radio.
Hmm. No
Um,
wonder the
and
voice.
and I
No.
I did a lot of commercial production, and I'd always wanted to return to doing more voice work. I've always used my voice one way or the other, and I wanted to do more. So I just decided I was going to go full on into voice acting.
Hmm.
And then I got recruited into trying to do some on camera stuff, which I didn't do much of because I didn't actually enjoy that. I like voice acting, and I still do it. But I don't read audiobooks.
I
Everybody
was
always
about,
asks that.
I'm like, what about special requests?
Yeah. So special requests, I'm starting to get a lot of them. I think I'm going to need to lead into that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking I'm going to start like a subscription channel reading erotica and erotic poetry because it
Dude, I mean,
seems to be
yes.
a demand.
Yes, and
So in
OnlyFans for
fact,
it. Sorry, I didn't. I'm like,
that's okay. Maybe later, not maybe, I would like to read a poem that I wrote for your podcast here
oh my
in a
God,
bit.
yes,
I would love to do
please.
that.
Oh, that brings
So in
tears to my eyes.
the study of acting and getting better at my acting chops, trying to, I had this epiphany that I was really detached from my emotions. I was really struggling to bring my emotional self into the characters I was developing and creating on camera and in voice. Um, and so as I continued to study, I said, well, I need to find other ways. And I was really studying with the method, which is, the Stanislavski method. You hear about it all the time. And, you create the mental picture and you bridge it to the character and the feelings. And all. I was really struggling with it. And so somebody suggested something called the Alexander technique, which is kind of an embodied view of
Hmm.
acting, getting your body in shape, which led me into studying a somatic method of acting,
Hmm.
which briefly would say that instead of using your mind to program your body, you're using your body to program your mind.
Hmm.
So let's say, you think about Brene Brown and the power pose, right? If you need to
Mhm.
feel sad for your character, put your body in a sad position, slump your shoulders. And
Hmm.
if you hold that long enough, you're going to start to feel sad,
Hmm.
right? And so in studying that somatic method, things started happening for me. I started having like really getting in touch with my feelings. And sometimes it wasn't a beautiful experience.
Mhm.
So that the somatic method of the somatic acting approach led me to hire a somatic therapy coach
Hmm.
whom I started working with, and a lot of things started happening with that. And so I really became keenly interested in embodiment, which led me to Tantra, which I self-studied for a
Hmm.
while. And then I decided to start looking for someone to learn from. And I decided, well, I'll start locally. And I found Leola.
Mm.
And I had 4 sessions with her online, and we developed a really nice rapport early on. This would have been summer of 2023.
Wow.
And then her retreat, the one that she and Justin Gottlieb put on, was in September of that year. She invited me to it, said, "Hey, this would be good for you. I think you'd enjoy it." I wanted to do it, but I didn't know what to expect, and I was frankly just terrified. So I didn't do it. I didn't do it. By the time I decided, yeah, I'm going to do it, it was sold out. I couldn't go.
Oh.
Oh man, son of a bitch. Well, then, like 6 days before it started, she called me and she said, "We had a single man drop out. It's yours if you want it. I'll make it right for you." And I just said yes right then, paid right then. And I went on that retreat, and that's really when. That's really when.
Mm.
Even afterwards, uh, both Leola and Justin and some other people were just like, the way you showed up at this thing was like, this doesn't even. We don't see people show up like this.
Mm.
You have an impact on people, and you might look into this. Like, you may have a future in this work.
Mm.
I thought about it, and I had a lot of encouragement with some people. And so in December, I just decided to work with Justin, go down this path, and embrace it as work that I could do. And now I'm doing it. I mean, that's the simplified version. There's a lot of other stuff that happened in the meantime, but yeah, there were just. I've now been to. I attended the retreat a second time as an attendee, and then I've assisted at it twice now, where they've asked me to come in and
Mm-hmm.
assist, and even in a couple of places kind of co-facilitate, which has been great. And I've gotten really involved in the local community. I've risen into some leadership roles, and so yeah, I'm on podcasts. I'm teaching. um I'm teaching a class on attracting secure relationships. I'm teaching that class
Mm.
for live Tantra in May online.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
teaching something on identifying and speaking your needs. I'm teaching that at the Rose Temple in May. And
Beautiful.
like, things are just kind of showing up for me, and I'm just rolling with it. Basically, what changed for me is I just started saying yes to everything.
It's kind of like the surrender experiment.
Just that's what 2024 was for me. It was just all about surrender. Stop trying to make things happen and let things happen.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's how I ended up, in the container, which was, that was a big edge for me at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's okay to talk about that or not,
You
but
can talk about it all.
but
There's
yeah,
no
being
restraints.
the demo model for Lingam Massage and the Pleasure Priestess program, where it's me. I'm the only man in a room of 23 women laying there
Hmm.
naked. I mean, that's
Hmm.
pretty
That's
vulnerable.
vulnerable. Yeah. I
But it
can
was
hear you're
also very
vulnerable.
beautiful because I like, you and I already knew each other a little bit. I had like
Hmm.
so many women, like more than half I knew, and some I'm very close to and very good friends with. And so I was nervous until I got in the room, and then I was just like, this is the safest place I could be
Mm.
for being vulnerable at all.
Yeah.
And I just let it happen, and it was a beautiful experience. And I had never received from Leola, and of course she's
Oh,
a master
really? Yeah.
anyway. And yeah, the moments I remember are like, I don't know what you remember me talking about, but like her holding my head and singing to me was just
Oh.
like, now I want that every time.
It was so beautiful to witness that I
Um,
actually was like, I'm gonna add some supplies
yeah,
and
I
so
felt,
that I can have like someone's head in my lap. It
yeah,
was just so beautiful to
I felt,
witness.
I've had tantric massage
Mm-hmm.
I've received, but this one just felt differently. And this was in a very much abbreviated version. It was, 45
Mm-hmm.
minutes or something, just to demonstrate. It wasn't something that ended with any explosive anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt so loved and so tender with her. Um, I mean, and I told her, I had the opportunity to tell her this and thank her for it, that, you can just tell the difference when I could feel her intention,
Mm-hmm.
and I could feel it in the room. Like, everybody was there. I don't know, rooting for me. What's the right way to put it? But I just felt all of your hearts and all of the love, and it was beautiful. And it was, again, it's one of those things that reminds me of why I do this, why
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, and what I'm about. So
Yeah, it's witnessing it and feeling the felt experience. It's like those little reminders of,
yeah,
hey, yes, keep going. You're you're on
yeah.
the path and
And I don't think I mean, it's not trivial for someone like her to ask me to do something like that. That's a big
Mm-mm. No, I think she takes highly into consideration, and she's very intentional. And
deal. Mhm.
I actually, I'm continuing on with her another year, which I told you, but just for
Yeah.
listeners to know, and deepening the work with her and stepping into more leadership. And so I opted for an option for a VIP or like one-on-one experience day. And I think that part of what I want for that day is the body work or session, or to receive the healing transmission from her.
Yeah, beautiful. Good. I
Yeah.
yeah, she has it figured out,
You
and
know,
I will always be.
yeah, I remember seeing her at like the Austin Tantra Festival, I think maybe 22 or something, and I'd be like, who is that? And she just radiates possibility. And I'm like, I'm curious, like,
Yeah.
who is, and then, time and things happen, and then, but the divine tapping.
And this is in a part, like, she's inspired my program, which I call
Mm-hmm.
Radiance Reclaimed, because helping,
Mm.
not everybody needs to radiate what she does, but you have
Mm-hmm.
your own radiance. Like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
How do you bring your gifts to the world? How do you do it in your power and in your strength, but also in your femininity and your softness?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and those are the things that resonate with me, and that's partly why I've just leaned into this. And I have mostly, and I still do mostly work with women. I do work with some men, and I'm probably going to work with more in the future, but right now, that's just not where my calling has been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to it by any means. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm,
Well, you mentioned like the femininity, and I know for me, like my masculine energy or that hyper go, 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 or not feeling safe. I know when I went to my first ISTA, well, my first and only one that I've been to so far, that's where I was like really, it's like, wow, my masculine energy was serving as a protector for my feminine energy.
sure.
And so I would love to touch on your thoughts or expand on like the art of receiving and like or expanding that feminine essence or energy.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things I could say there. I don't know if you've ever read Nonviolent Communication.
I'm aware of not, but I don't
Marshall
think I've read the full book.
Rosenberg. He says something about that really stuck with me in there, where he says that women, at least in the West, are taught that their value comes from their self-sacrifice, from sacrificing their needs.
Mm,
That's how he says it, from sacrificing their needs. And men are taught that their value comes from not having any needs, which
mm,
is both are absolute atrocities and false,
yeah.
right? And you see how this plays out. Um, and this feeling of constant sacrifice uh, just erodes confidence and erodes your connection to yourself, and you add that to other kinds of childhood wounds and things that come up, and of course you're going to be protective. And then as you grow up, I have a daughter, right? I mean, I saw this. You get into your teen years and you start trying to navigate relationships with guys, and the way you get treated,
Mm,
like, it's any wonder that you are protecting yourself.
mm,
And you have to survive in this world, right? And so you have to take on whatever is necessary for you to survive,
mm,
right? And to make your own way. And then you're taught that, like, and this is, I think, reasonable. You don't want to be dependent on another person, let alone a man.
mhm,
So all of that, like, we created this world in which, in so many good ways, you're able to be independent and live the life that you want to live, make your choices, and do all that. And you have to have all of the responsibility that goes with that. But what we haven't done is helped men understand how to live in a world or treat women who are doing those things.
mm,
So I don't think it's bad in any way that you are able to, that you can get into your masculine energy and that you can drive and go and be ambitious. I think that's a good thing.
mhm,
Unfortunately, where's the yin to your yang? How does that
mhm,
show up? Right? What makes it possible for you to show up in your feminine, to surrender, to let go, to be
mhm,
soft, so it's, I think there's responsibility, a kind of societal responsibility, in a way, to say, hey, all these things we've done for women's rights and women's lib, with notwithstanding some of the backsliding that might be going on these days, we've done these good things. What we haven't done is helped men understand how to show up.
mm,
And my view, actually, for men's work in positive masculinity, is that It's not about men needing to be more masculine. It's them having a better relationship with their feminine.
Mm. Mhm.
Right. So I'm definitely not in the received view of the positive masculinity movement because I think that's still trying to forget that you have a feminine essence within
Mm.
you. I think
Mhm.
the answer is to embrace that and use it to
Mhm.
understand. But I don't know, the things that I will start out coaching a woman to do are basically the very first things that you learn in Tantra. Slow the fuck down.
Mm. Savor.
Slow down. Find yourself, even on your own, intentionally create spaces where you can slow down.
Mm.
Take a long bath, savor a meal. I did a workshop where I read this poem actually on Saturday night, and it was called Desire and Devotion. And it was entirely about savoring experience. So I put people in groups of 3. Each person had a chance to be giver, receiver, and witness.
Mm.
And we
Beautiful.
used flowers, and like instead of touching with hands, it was flowers, running the flowers over your skin and moving, those. So using flowers and plants to engage and really taking the time, like, what does this flower feel like when it touches you? What does this one feel like? What does the stem feel like? Um, Look at it, open your eyes, look at the color and the vibrancy. Take a minute, really inhale and smell that, and let that scent sink in. And then we did a round with some flavors, some tastes,
Mm.
sea salt chocolate and
Mm.
like truffle cheese, olives, and some
Mm.
other stuff. Just interesting flavors, like dramatically different but interesting. Some of them were not even great flavors. Like, have you ever had just a raw cranberry?
I don't think so.
They are, God, they're
Bitter?
disgusting.
Oh,
So
okay.
bitter. Ugh.
Okay.
But it was, but I did it intentionally because I wanted to see
Mhm.
how people, and some of them really reacted, and other people were like, "Oh, that's awful. Give me another one." Because you're just like, but because that's part of the human experience too.
Yeah.
It's not just the pleasant things, and so you're also learning to
Mm.
be like in gratitude for even the pain
Mhm. Mm.
because that's so human. It's so alive.
Mm. Mm.
So we did that, and then I ended that. The third round was like intentional touch, but it was meant to be fun. I'm like poke each other, tickle each other. I gave them toothpicks to poke each other with, and rubber bands to snap each other with, and just like even savor those things. It was all slowing down and savor the sensation.
Mhm.
Savor it on your own, savor it with another person. And as the witness, like, what does it look like to you to see someone savoring? Because you can
Mhm.
savor that. Can you savor witnessing someone else in their pleasure?
Mm.
And it's such an amazing, beautiful thing. And that is, people ask me, as a male tantric practitioner working with women, where does my eros show up? Do I get aroused? Usually I don't. I'm not gonna say never, but mostly no. And there's a lot of this, aside from being paid, like, what do I get out of it? People expect me to get something out of it. What I get out of it is I get to be in that space. I get to
Mhm.
witness this woman,
Mm.
and maybe it's not pleasure, but whatever is happening for her, I get to be there for that. And it is vulnerable and it is open and it is beautiful. And to have that privilege is itself an amazing honor.
Yeah.
And I think if more men could find a way to feel that way about the women in their lives, that sometimes just to breathe the air she breathes is an honor. And I'm not bending a knee to her in submission. It's
Mhm.
in devotion,
Mm.
right? Can you be in devotion to the women in your life? And what does that look like? And can you do it without sacrificing your masculine essence?
Mm.
And so the woman, I look at it as kind of the other, from the other side, right? Can you, in your femininity, be in devotion to the masculine, including your own, right? Don't be angry with it. Don't be upset with it. Don't wish it were not there. Don't wish you could conquer it. Accept it into your life, honor it, and then say, take a rest. I'm going to slow the fuck down. I'm going to enjoy this meal. I'm going to take a long, luxurious bath. I'm going to completely let go and have the most amazing orgasm I've ever had with a man or alone. But let's get all this crap out of our head and be in
Mhm.
our bodies and be soft and slow.
Mm. I love
So,
that. Well, one, I'm like, where was my invite to that workshop? No, I'm kidding. I
oh,
want
see,
to go
I'll
to
send
the
you. The
yeah.
next one's not until the summer, but yeah, it's
Oh,
called the
I would.
Garden of Mystic Lovers.
Oh my God.
It's
I'm
about expressing your eros through art. It's a panties on thing. It's not a
yeah.
heavy sexual play party. It's so beautiful. I love it. I've
It
done. I've been to both.
sounds incredible.
It's great.
And, like, the witnessing element too, I think there's so much healing in just being witnessed too,
Yeah,
and that makes me think of your experience at Pleasure Priestess when you were witnessed by
yeah,
how many women there? I mean,
yeah.
like, that's so powerful.
It is powerful.
And then to just like that, yeah, to be seen and felt and
I don't know how many men might listen to this podcast, but let me ask you how big and bad you are. No matter how big and bad you are, would you have the guts to do that? Could you
yeah.
go be naked? Could you go lay down naked with everything hanging out in front of 23 women and let yourself be touched like that for an hour? Are you that bad? Are you that tough? Are you that strong?
Mm. Yeah, vulnerability to me,
Hard.
it's
It was very challenging to do it. Once I
yeah,
was in it,
yeah.
like 15 minutes in, it was a beautiful experience and I'm glad. I'm just saying, like, I don't know a lot of guys actually who could surrender into it. And I couldn't have done it before I did it.
Mm,
I mean, I needed the year of my own work to be
yeah.
able to have that.
Did it take that 15 minutes to drop from, like, your head to be more in
It
the
did. It
yeah,
maybe 10, but it did take me
yeah,
some time to just kind of, we had a good conversation. I was able to drop in, but it did
yeah.
take me a little bit of time to get out of my head because I'm a man, right? So you're thinking all the thoughts like, okay, like I want this to be a good experience for everybody else. I want it to show up well. Like, am I too fat? Am I going to get hard? Am I not? Am I going to like, what's going to happen? All those things.
Mhm,
You just need some time to get all that shit, to let all that crap go. And then you can surrender into the experience.
mhm,
And I don't know. I've come to believe in my work with women, I've come to believe that it's like every time you're in an encounter with a man, sexual otherwise, you need that time to transition out of your head.
mhm. Yeah.
And the man you're spending time with does, if he wants to have an amazing experience with you, again, sexual or otherwise, he needs to understand that he does have a responsibility to make that possible.
Mm,
Right? If you are feeling like your armor has to be on, you're not going to drop into your femininity.
mhm. Yeah,
Nor should
unravel
you,
or
frankly.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
That
So,
safety to, like,
yeah, you've gotta take
blossom
care
and
of yourself.
fully yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned something else too that I loved and, about the pain and how embracing that too. Like, yeah, it's like, yes, of course, we love the high moments, we love the beautiful moments, but like finding the beauty in the pain. Or for me, I've had a lot of grief, and so it's like
Mhm.
finding the gifts and the beauty in the grief too, but also just allowing myself to feel the the grief and the
Exactly.
pain
Yes.
as part of the human experience. Because I thought for a long time to be like high vibe and manifesting, I was like, oh, well, what if I have this like deep pain or deep, depression or, this bout of anxiety? Like, am I doing it quote unquote right? Or am I still, in that certain like vibration or level of consciousness to have the life that I want to have. And until I found Tantra, and I mean, it almost brings tears to my eyes. It felt like such a homecoming to embrace like the humanness and embrace all of it. Not only just like my desires and my sexuality, but also like the totality of the human experience. And that includes everything.
It does.
And then realizing like, oh, I remember at one point that I was like, okay, if I was in a very low moment and I was like, okay, if I can just continue my journey, if the equal and opposite of this is the highest joy, then I can feel that in both capacities. But now when the pendulum swings sometimes,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, okay, I'm at a new depth. And I remember talking to one of my practitioners that I received body work from, and she's like, well, it increases your capacity to feel in both directions.
Right, right. It's about
Yeah.
for me, it's very much about truth and authenticity.
Mm,
I mean, everybody, I think, finds what it is that they need to find, and there are people I know that just they exude joy all the time, and I admire it. They're just made of pure joy and light, and what a lovely thing. I'm not.
mm.
Not. I wish I were, but I'm not. I'm made of something else. I'm made of something that is often intense, and I feel things deeply and intensely. I love fiercely and unapologetically,
Mm,
and sometimes I hurt. And I think it's been a big lesson for me that started with this coming back from acting is just like when I hurt, I need to let that be okay.
mhm,
And when I'm feeling vulnerable and needy. Like sometimes I just feel fucking needy. Like I
mhm.
need some attention. I need something. And I just have to let that be okay and not shame myself for it.
Yeah.
And I would say this, and then again, for me, that's sort of, this is not to denigrate the feminine. It's me feeling the feelings is me embracing the femininity in me.